You know, it's almost like your birthday with a package from China, so let's go. Where PlayStation Vitas are in very, let's say, horrible condition most of the time because they were like portable devices. And I can tell you that this is absolutely surprised to see how overall good the quality is. However, what I did notice that they didn't replace the joysticks. So they do have a little bit of wear and tear. I think that is maybe one of my only complaints I'm having at this point. So looking at the back, you can just see only my fingerprints and everything is in very good condition. So is this really 100% refurbished? I think they indeed like opened it up, cleaned it up and give this thing a completely refurbished. One of the things, I didn't see it, but they did mention that you don't need to update, and this is simply to do because when you're going to be updating it, you're completely going to messing up the custom firmware that's on here. So in here we're finding the converter. This is in the bay for the games normally. It also contains an SD card. I think there was a 512 gigabyte. You have different, let's say, versions. So when it comes to the PS Vita, I think this is one of those highly cool, let's say high quality, underrated devices. But let's power it on and let's see how the software looks. So this PS Vita is completely modified. So powering it on, it needs to be charged, otherwise we need to charge it a little bit. But powering on, it will get into, let's say, some special firmware and also software, and everything have been set up so we don't need to do a lot of tinkering. And there are a lot of tutorials out there if you want to get into the deep dive of the software or the rabbit hole called, let's say, the PS Vita software, because there's a lot of, let's say, homebrew going on and a lot of, let's say, fan base behind it. Because yeah, this thing is absolutely awesome when it comes to the PS Vita itself. So you can already see like the modded by Sumo. It will automatically boot up into, let's say, the right software, where we have the option to play all kinds of cool stuff. Automatically boot up into the VitaHex games, and from this point we have all kinds of cool, let's say, options for playing games, emulation, you name it, because the PS Vita, oh boy, it's absolutely an emulation beast. But I was really wondering how this thing is out of the box. It will take some time to load up, and this is actually what we're getting when it comes to, let's say, the software. You can just see that this thing has like a very nice front end. It will take some time to load up the first time. But the PlayStation Vita library, you can just see how many cool, awesome games are on here. And there are so many hidden gems. And that is one of the reasons I'm saying this thing is highly underrated. There's so many cool things with it. I did get myself the PS Vita when it came out, and there were so many cool games like Mortal Kombat 9. Okay, next up, let's try to check into different categories, because we can also play PlayStation Portable, because that is one of the convenient things you can just actually do with the PlayStation Vita. So when it comes combined, the PS Vita and PlayStation Portable are absolutely amazing libraries. Let's go, we're having some more options over here. PlayStation. I think the stuttering sound is just simply to do because it needs to load in all of the details and everything else. But pressing square again, we're having N64. Let's see what's on here. Super NES, NES, some Game Boy Advance. You just see when it's loaded up, we don't have the stuttering in the background anymore. Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Classic, having some Mega Drive. Let's see where we're having more, the Genesis. And we're back to the PS Vita. So that were the different platforms what you're actually getting out of the box with the Sumo PS Vita. It does give you the PS Vita list, so that is a little bit of an annoying thing. You can always go to details and make a favorite list or check out some other things if you want to mess around in here. So it's kind of cool that we do have an option for making a favorite list. So let's see if that is an option here. Pressing the triangle again, add favorites, rename, hide, and add to the collection. So you can mess around with that if you want to. Shoulder buttons will skip very quickly through the list itself. But there are so many different games to play. And this is beautiful, but if you have a lot of stuff installed, it's absolutely impossible to search them. So what we can do actually is pressing select, having the option to just type the name and search. So I'm guessing getting a lot of street games now. And this way we can just actually scroll so much more faster throughout, let's say, everything else. Yeah, there's still a lot of stuff on here, so I think I need to narrow it down, but I just wanted to see there's some Street Fighter games. And you can just see over here that there are a lot of different options out there. But let's get into the gameplay and let's see how it will run. I did notice that the loading times were quite long. Okay. Let's see if everything seems to be working like it should be. Oh man, using the shoulder button is something I'm not used to. But when you're looking at it, absolutely awesome. This game plays perfectly. Still find it a little bit of a bummer when it comes to the analog sticks. I do wonder why they didn't change them out for new ones, if it's even possible. But one of the things they should do, that would make this device absolutely in new condition. In fixing stuff if it doesn't work. But so far so good. And the overall gameplay is just perfect. So one of the things I really need to get for this device, wait, this is not like the most best repeller game out there or something, but I love the Bug Bumble game. So it's going to be widescreen shenanigans, that is one thing. Oh yeah. And most of the time, most of the emulators don't have an issue with this particular game. Yeah, but N64 emulator is not perfect. But getting into the game, seems to be working fine. Oh, another thing I need to do is lower the lights in my studio. That's much better. Now it's way more visible because the freaking screen is so reflective of the PS Vita. But yep, no problem whatsoever here. At the beginning we had some hiccups. So it is absolutely cool. I won't really expect a lot of problems when it comes to the emulation of some 60-bit. In this case, Super NES. Yep, there are a lot of different games you can play and just needed to try out this particular one. But what is kind of cool that we can just play some old school 16-bit games. It's absolutely a great addition when it comes to the PS Vita. So out of the box I did notice that we do miss a lot of other cool platforms. Think about if it goes to the PS Vita and of course PC Engine. So it's cool that we can actually play this, but let's be honest, we have many different devices now that cost a fraction of what this thing costs and can do the same thing. So far so good. Also the aspect ratio has been set to the right resolution, or at least we're having the black bars, so it doesn't look that weird and stretched out. And it looks like it had been set, it's only working for the D-pad. But we don't have the filter option with this emulator, so that was only possible with the NES Famicom part. But let's get the speed into the game. But everything seems to be working just fine when it comes to that. There is a massive community behind the PlayStation Vita. There are many different ports. So maybe at this point we're just even scratching the surface when it comes to different solutions and cool things out there. But I also wanted to showcase how fast are the loading times between the title screen and getting actually into the main menu, because these games are not made for the PS Vita. You can just see that it is not super smooth. But it is really cool. Okay, see how it boots up, how the loading times are from the menu or the character select or the save file to the game itself. Really smooth overall gameplay, so that is kind of cool to revisit these games like the Sonic Mania that they ported it to the PS Vita. And for me this is one of my favorite Sonic releases from the last decade. This PS Vita I've picked up from the Sumo shop is absolutely a beast. We can play so much stuff out of the box, and the overall quality, I was quite surprised by it, how complete it is and what you're getting. Let me know in the comments what do you think of it. Thank you all for watching, consider subscribing, hit the little bell, and it would be great to see you in the next video.